Hello everyone, I'm joined by Bun, the DPS player from Rad Avidity today to talk about Stage 4, but I wondered, Bun, if you could talk us through how it all began for Stage 4, because this roster came from the Avidity core originally and then added a lot of new players, so how did this all sort of come together for the start of Stage 4?
Um, I mean, like for me personally, like I joined the team like 3 days before roster lock or something. Cause my previous team, which was like Green Fortnite slash Timeless Ethereal, we kind of like disbanded like right before, and I think I wanted to join that team specifically because I thought Pella was really good. That was like one of the main reasons, and my old teammate Scuffed was going there, so I was like, I might as well join.
And then I wondered if you could maybe tell us a little bit about the team in terms of how the internal dynamic works. Is there maybe one person who's particularly the most vocal or in charge of most of the calls or game plans?
Mm, to be honest, like as a team, we're like kind of unique because usually it's like everyone has their own say in the team. It's like most team structures, you have like a primary like leader, like a shot caller, usually the tank, right? And they just say like 70% of everything, and then their team says 30%. But I'd say like usually it's like 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%. But that's when we have tools in, and I think Pella's a bit more vocal than tools. So maybe when Pella's in, it's more like 30% Pella, and then everyone else also like talks.
Do you prefer that compared to previous structures you've been in where you get to talk a little bit more?
Hmm. I think it has like its strengths and weaknesses because sometimes like early on we had the problem of having low energy, and if like one person has low energy, that's like a big chunk of your comms just like missing, you know? Like when you have like a dedicated leader and someone else isn't talking, right? You're not missing that much, right? Because they're only like a small part of it, but when it's equally distributed, like everyone needs to always be like max energy and ready to talk and all that. So like early on, that was like a weakness, I guess, but I think we've gone past that. And then there's also the strength of everyone talking, which is like everyone can share their ideas, and I'd say like it's better because when everyone is thinking for themselves, like because I think everyone or it's not the best to just have one person just like lead everyone usually. Like they might not always have the right answer, and I think being able to do things as a team is a can be a strength.
Well, I think maybe especially in this meta as well, where so many people are playing just like these big brawly mirrors, it's really helpful if you can have everyone talking about what's going on or what they need or what they want to do for that fight.
Yeah.
And then if I had to get you to pick a person who was the funniest person in the team, who would it be?
Um Probably Nenwai. He's like I don't know, he's really stupid.
I was going to say, is it because there's two types of funny. There's someone like who's intentionally funny, telling jokes or funny stories, and then there's other people who are maybe just a bit goofy. Are we
Yeah, Nenwai's
goofy
like
side of
silly, yeah.
things? Yeah. And then who's the biggest? Do you have like a person who's the biggest complainer on the team, or always moans?
Mm, I mean, probably like Wub, but I appreciate Wub as a teammate because he's always like trying to work on it, and he like recognizes that sometimes it can be a problem. But yeah, probably Wub.
And then I want to ask a bit about your coaches as well. I'm probably going to butcher the names here, but Raoni and Natdoche. I
Uh,
come close.
Honestly, well, maybe I don't even know how to say his name, but I think it's Nat Doge K, but and then Ray Leany, but um, yeah, I'd say they're like the most like professional coaches I've worked with. Like they take it really seriously.
Would you say they're more on? There's often like a scale of coaches in terms of the super strict who are very harsh, maybe quite critical in feedback, maybe towards the other end that are maybe more, what would you call, like, I guess, like motivators or like the people person, more of like a friend or a parent? Where do they sort of fall on that kind of scale?
Um, I mean, like, if you think about it, like good cop, bad cop, I guess. Like, I'd say Ray's the good cop, while Nat is like bad cop. But like, Nat isn't like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
he's like the more stern one, while Ray's like the more nice one.
And then I want to ask you a bit, if we can cast our mind back, because this is now your second time in a row making top 8. You did it last time in stage 3 with Timeless Ethereal. But earlier in the year, you sort of had, I guess, your first big success with Calling All Heroes. How important do you think Calling All Heroes was to you in your development as a player and a professional?
Mm, I'm not sure, because I mean, I guess if Call never happened, right, I wouldn't have played with those players like Sawhill, Sniper, Haley, X10. Like, I probably never would have played with them, right? Like, because before I was playing with like other teams, right? And
Hmm.
I don't know. I'd say it's a general like positive impact.
Okay. And then I want to ask you, get your take a bit on the meta as well, because it feels like every region you watch, North America, Europe, Korea, everyone is very much settled on the fact that it's going to be a Juno Brig meta, lots of Orisa, lots of Genji very recently as well. Do you think this meta is good for your team?
Mm, yeah, I'd say so. I think we're all like very comfortable on the heroes in the meta, and I think even if it like shifts, we should be fine.
It felt like in your games over these past couple of weeks that you really sort of had a sort of starring role on the Genji. What do you think is the most important thing when playing the Genji in this composition?
Mm, this meta is like pretty unique in my opinion, because like the way I was like taught to play Genji was a lot different from like other metas. Like, I don't really need to like Queen meta, like you make first dash and then your team collapses on you and stuff. But here I was just told to like make kills. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I like don't really like think about dashing in for my team, but like just try to get on their back line, like pressure them. And in a lot of ways, like when my coaches were describing it, I was kind of like, I feel like this is kind of like the way I need the path is more like a tracer than a Genji, and I just like shoot them in the back a lot. And then if they hard look at me, then my cast can play even more, you know?
Mm. And then also, everyone's had to sort of figure out, all the different teams have had to figure out who's going to play Juno and who's going to play Brig for them out of their backline. How did your team go about this? Was it a sort of back and forth decision? Did you swap it much, or was it quite obvious from the get go?
Um, so like we were in a group with like the one trick teams, obviously, a Junker Queen team and a Ryan team. And when it came to preparation, we knew that we probably wanted Scuff like on the other heroes that like weren't Juno, like probably like Ana or maybe Kiri into a Ryan team, while we can just play Juno Brig into the Junker Queen team. But in scrims, so basically we tried out Nenwai on Juno and then Scuffed on Brig and all the other heroes. After a few weeks, we were like, okay, I think this is good, right? And we've prepared Nenwai enough from Juno, but we should go back to how it was normally with Scuffed on Juno, because our like ceiling was higher there and our consistency was better. So we like practiced with Nenwai, so we're ready for the derpy match, and then we went back to normal.
How did you find it? Because obviously you ended up with, like you said, a very strange group compared to most teams. Do you think it was easier in the end playing against these teams which have like a clear, they're only going to play this comp, we can prepare very specifically, rather than just playing against teams who are maybe just going to match you in a mirror matchup?
Mm, I mean, to be honest, like it's a little like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's easier because it's hard. It's harder to prepare. Obviously, like you don't really know what's gonna happen until match day. Like, because when you scrim other teams, they're not really gonna play the comps those one trick teams are gonna play. And, like we're just playing like Orisa mirror the whole week except for the warm up scrim, obviously. But yeah, it's kind of nerve wracking because you don't actually know how well you're gonna do. Like a lot of how you're gonna beat them is just theory, and you can't really practice it. But I think we executed like well, and yeah, we ended up winning, so it's good.
No, I felt like you found like good solutions both times. Certainly encountering that problem in Europe as well when you have to play against the one trick team, and you think your idea is good, but you don't get to find out until the day, and then you just hope you are right.
Yeah.
And then if we think about the top 8 bracket itself, your first game is against Citrus Nation. How confident do you feel going into that first fixture?
I think they're a pretty strong team, but I mean, I think we can win, and you'd much rather have like Citrus than like Toronto, you know? So I think it's fine. I think we're happy with it.
Okay. And are there any other teams that are in the top 8 right now that you're particularly hoping you run into at some point or get a chance to beat?
Not really, I'd say. I just want to like play. Like there's no one in particular, I'd say.
Okay. And then obviously in an ideal world, you'd win the tournament. But is there how far in the tournament would you need to get for you to sort of look back at this and feel like this was a successful tournament?
I don't know. Like, to be honest, like I think top 4 would be really cool, obviously. But like even like 5th or 6th, I don't think would be that bad.
Okay. And then if I had to get you to say who you think is going to be the strongest team in this meta, maybe the answer's obvious, but who's the strongest in the region right now?
I don't know. I think, I mean, I don't know who's exactly the best, right? Because I mean, probably Toronto, obviously, but when it comes to like a team below Toronto, like I think it would be like Nightmare above NRG, and then like that's the order.
Okay, yeah. I think to be fair, that's where a lot of people are leaning right now. All right then. Thank you very much, Bun. I do appreciate your time. Obviously, best of luck to you and the team for the weekend. I'm sure we'll be watching. Thank you very much.
Thank you.